Hello everyone, welcome back. Our first story is from our /AITAH. AITAH for exposing my boyfriend after he cheated? So, this might be a wild one, but here goes. I, 26F, have been dating my boyfriend Matt, 28 male, for 2 years. Everything was fine until a few weeks ago when I noticed he'd become super secretive with his phone. Before, he used to leave it out on the table, but recently he's been taking it everywhere, like even to the bathroom, which seemed odd. One night, while we were watching a movie, his phone lit up, and I saw a text from Kelly, a name I'd never heard him mention. It wasn't like a "hey, how's it going?" message, it was a heart emoji followed by "can't wait for tomorrow night." My stomach dropped, but I kept my cool and didn't confront him. Instead, I decided to investigate. I didn't have his phone password, but I remembered that he had synced his texts to his laptop, which he kept in his office. When he went to bed, I snuck in and opened the laptop. Sure enough, there was a whole conversation with Kelly. Turns out, they'd been going out for a couple of months, and she had no idea he had a girlfriend. He was stringing her along, telling her he was single and even planning a weekend getaway with her soon. I felt disgusted and hurt, but instead of confronting him immediately, I decided to take a different approach. Matt's birthday was coming up, and he'd invited a bunch of his friends to celebrate. They're all super tight, and I've become close to a few of them over the years. I couldn't believe Matt would do this to me, so I figured the best revenge would be exposing him to everyone. I didn't want to just air things out in the heat of the moment, so I waited until the party. After we'd all had a few drinks, I gathered everyone for a birthday toast. I pulled up my phone and projected it to the TV in his living room. Everyone thought I was about to share a cute photo montage or something. Nope. Instead, I started scrolling through the messages between Matt and Kelly, reading them out loud. The room went dead silent. Matt turned pale, then furious, but I kept going. I finished by saying, "And that's why this piece of trash isn't worth anyone's time, including mine. Happy birthday, Matt." His friends were in shock. Some of the girls immediately came over and hugged me, while the guys were stunned. Matt, on the other hand, stormed out, furious that I ruined his night. Now, here's the thing, I feel kinda guilty. Some of his friends have told me I was savage and should have confronted him privately, while others said he deserved it for cheating. But part of me wonders if I went too far. So, AITAH? Edit. I did tell Kelly she didn't care and she is staying with him. Next story. AITAH, 27 male, for asking my girlfriend, 26F, to stop involving her imaginary friend Tom in our relationship. So, when I started dating Sarah, I thought I hit the jackpot, smart, funny, and gorgeous. We've been together for about a year, and everything seemed pretty normal. But recently, I discovered that she has an imaginary friend named Tom. I had no idea about Tom when we got together. At first, I thought she was just joking around when she'd say things like, "Tom says you're funny," or "Tom thinks we should order pizza." I laughed it off, assuming Tom was a goofy inside joke. But now, it's like Tom's some kind of relationship therapist that I never hired. We were having a serious talk the other night, and out of nowhere, she said, "Tom thinks you're overreacting." I just stared at her, thinking, oh, great, I'm getting double-teamed by my girlfriend and her imaginary friend. So, I finally asked her, "Can Tom maybe stay out of our conversations?" Sarah looked crushed and told me Tom has been her rock for years. Now, she's barely talking to me, and it's like Tom's got beef with me too. AITAH for asking her to keep Tom out of our relationship, or do I just need to make peace with my invisible rival? Edit update, Tom's origin story. And it's weirder than I expected. Alright, buckle up, because things just got even stranger. After reading all your comments, seriously, you guys are killing me with the give Tom a girlfriend and charge him rent suggestions. I decided it was finally time to have the talk with Sarah about Tom. So, we're sitting there, and I gently bring up how Tom's presence in our relationship is, well, a bit much. She laughs at first but then suddenly gets this serious look and says, "Okay, I guess it's time I told you the truth about Tom." Now I'm thinking she's going to say he's just a silly thing she made up as a kid, but no. She takes a deep breath and tells me that Tom wasn't just an imaginary friend, he was her boyfriend back in high school. Yup, you read that right. Apparently, Tom was her ideal boyfriend during her teenage years when, in her words, real boys were just disappointments. She used to imagine him as this super supportive, hilarious guy who'd always take her side and hype her up. And somehow, even after she started dating actual people, Tom just stuck around. Now I'm sitting there thinking, great, I'm in a love triangle with an imaginary high school boyfriend. She reassures me that it's not like that now, but I can't help but wonder if I'm competing with the ultimate perfect boyfriend who's literally too good to be true. So, I guess I'll try to make peace with my invisible rival. But just so you know, if I ever hear her whisper, "Thanks, Tom," under her breath again, I might actually lose it. Next story. Am I wrong for leaving a date without telling him? I met a guy online, claimed to be 4 years older than me but no big deal, I'm 24. We were interested in the same things and got along well. So we decided to meet for a drink last weekend. I went to the bar and was looking for him, then I saw him but he looked different, older. I went over and met him and said he looks different than his picture. He said, oh yeah, those pictures are a few years old. I said, but you're 28, right? He said he was actually 42 but age is just a number. I got the ick, so said I forgot my phone in the car and left. He messaged me asking where I was and I said I went home, that I'm not into older guys or being lied to. He said I was shallow and that's why he doesn't say his real age. Honestly, I thought the whole thing was funny, so I told my friend. She said I'm mean for just leaving a date and not even telling him, that maybe he was a nice guy and I'm being judgmental because of his age. I'm not into guys that's much older. People can do what they want but it's not for me. Am I wrong for leaving? Our next story. I had an unexpected threesome with my best friend and my boyfriend. Am I wrong to feel extremely betrayed by them both? Just the other night, I was hanging out with my best friend and my boyfriend in her apartment. It started out innocently enough with us playing games and watching movies. Then we started playing Never Have I Ever and the questions were pretty sensual. She then asked never have I ever had a threesome and both me and my boyfriend said no. Her entire vibe changed, to the point it was scary, and she looked at us both. She said, what if we did something crazy? I kind of laughed because no part of me could have ever fathomed what she meant. But then she scooted closer to my boyfriend and started kissing him. He wasn't stopping her. I just froze. It felt surreal, like a dream, a nightmare. There they were making out like it was the most natural thing in the world. I think I had a trauma response of sorts and kind of tricked myself into thinking this was normal? I can't explain it. But it's like my brain wasn't ready to feel the extent of what was happening, so it tricked itself. They started undressing each other and on instinct I undressed myself too. I won't go into the dirty details but a full-fledged threesome occurred among us. The next morning I woke up at first believing I had dreamt it, but there they were naked on the floor together. I still couldn't process what the F occurred, so I just kind of ran out. When it finally hit me I had a full-fledged breakdown. I've gotten calls and texts from both of them asking if I'm okay. I haven't responded. I can't respond. I've thrown up twice from the intrusive memories. I didn't want this. Why did I go along with this? Why didn't I stop it? Why did she start it? Questions just keep swimming in my brain. I don't know what the F to do. Last text from my boyfriend was, I hope you aren't upset. I think that was such a special event in our relationship even though it was insane. He's knocked on my door and I haven't opened it. I have no idea where to go from here. I still love him but I can't look at him the same. I mean, I effing saw his D go in and out of my best friend. Not to mention her. I feel like I've been betrayed in the most disgusting way even though I let it happen, participated. Am I right to feel like they did wrong in the worst way? Update, hey guys, I figured I should add this to my post rather than respond to a bunch of people with it. I met up with my boyfriend about the situation. In a nutshell, this is what I got out of him. I asked a lot of questions. No, he hasn't been sleeping with her the whole time. That night was the first time. He didn't actively want to sleep with her but he wouldn't have said no either. He put this down to being a horny guy. He thought that the vibe was super sexual even before she came onto him and that he expected it to happen and thought I did too. He mentioned how sexual the questions were and her straight up saying we were turning her on with our answers. She did say this but I thought she was joking. He didn't push her away because he thought it would be a fun experience for all of us. He admitted to being turned on by her boldness and doing it in front of me. He thought that if she did it so easily it meant she and I talked about it beforehand and that's why we invited him. They didn't have sex after I left, but they did express regret over possibly hurting me and he left as soon as he could. I asked if I could see his phone to see if he'd been talking to her. He admitted that they did message a bit after the ordeal but it was nothing serious. I asked if I could see and he got kind of panicky which made my heart drop. He was like, let me remind you that I was still in the mindset that it was a special moment for us. So I knew I was going to get sick from what I saw but I needed the full truth of the situation so I asked anyway. He showed me their DMs. They went something like. Her, let me know if you get in touch with, insert my name. Him, I will. Can I be honest though? Her, of course. Him, last night was the best night of my life. Her, me too. I feel bad that, insert my name, might feel bad but gosh it was so hot. Him, I'll be sad if we can't do that again. Her, you're everything, insert my name, said you were. Him, she talks about me like that? I'm embarrassed. LOL. Her, all the time, I low-key wanted to see for myself. After that, he started complimenting her intercourse skills and stuff which I quickly skimmed over because I knew I'd get sick if I fully processed them. I skimmed over the rest of the conversation really because at this point I just couldn't handle seeing anything else of that nature. I scrolled up in their DMs and only saw occasional memes and reposts, so I'm pretty confident that last night was the first time. If still doesn't make me feel better though, considering while I was having a literal breakdown, they were complimenting each other's skills and bodies. I told him to leave, and he begged me to forgive him for everything, but I told him to go F her again since he loved it so much. At this point, I'll probably block them both and just focus on healing and moving on, because I know I'm not the kind of person to get over that at all. Thanks everyone for your advice and support, it truly made me feel worlds better. Next story. AITAH for not acting happy when my wife saw me on our morning commute. So I, 31M, was driving to work this morning and I'm getting close to my exit. I'm driving along in the middle lane, past this slower car in the right lane, and I'm about to switch lanes when the car in the right lane suddenly speeds up, blocking my access to that lane. Automatically, I'm annoyed and I look over to see what the F is wrong with that driver. Turns out it's my wife, 30F, and she's smiling and waving, happy to see me on her way to work. I didn't wave back or smile. Keep in mind I'm already annoyed at the driver speeding up to block my way, trying to make my exit, and caught by surprise to see my wife. My wife sends me a message when she gets to work saying she was sad I didn't wave back, but I figured she was joking and forgot about it. Later tonight, she brought it up and we ended up having a mini argument over it. Turns out her feelings were actually hurt by me not acting happy to see her. From my point of view, I was kind of annoyed because I could have missed my exit or worse, gotten in an accident. I just don't think the freeway at 7 a.m. is the place to do that. From her point of view, she was trying to make a connection and show love and I didn't reciprocate that. Am I the soul for not waving back to my wife on the freeway when I was trying to change lanes and make my exit? That's it for now. See you in the next post.